First, a man who was jailed for a murder he didn't commit has been freed after almost 6 years behind bars. Michael Hamblett-Sewell was originally convicted of ordering the shooting of the Derby teenager Kadeem Blackwood.
The prosecution had used a controversial law known as joint enterprise, but today, after a second retrial, a jury decided that he wasn't guilty. Well, our social affairs correspondent Jeremy Ball was in court. Jeremy, an emotional day.
Oh yes, Geeta, there were gasps and there were a lot of tears from the family who were sitting right behind me here. I heard one of them shout, "Thank you, jury," and then "Thank you, judge." Just that jury took barely a couple of hours to clear Michael Hamblett-Sewell of committing one of Derby's most notorious murders. Free for the first time in almost 6 years and wearing the T-shirt to prove it, Michael Hamblett-Sewell left court today numb with emotion, but his family was overwhelmed.
I'm just glad that justice has been finally done. You know, we've suffered for the last 6 years. You know, we're name calling and, you know, I've actually lost 2 jobs through it.
How relieved are you, Michael? Must be well
very relieved. He should have never been there in the first place. And, you know, at the end of the day, a young lad's lost his life. No fault of my son's.
Today's the end of a legal battle that began here at Sunny Hill in Derby when 15-year-old Kadeem Blackwood was murdered in a park. Kadeem Blackwood was a keen musician. He recorded this track for his girlfriend, but a trivial row over disrespect led to this horrifying 999 call.
I'm just trying to report a shooting in the Captain Park. He can take his jacket quickly, mate. Is he breathing? No. He's not breathing. Can you get to him really quick? He's blood everywhere. Stay with us, man. He's shouting with a sword shotgun.
It's now almost 6 years since Kadeem Blackwood was shot. He bled to death at the scene. The following year, 2 men were jailed for life for Kadeem's murder. Callum Campbell admitted firing the gun, but Michael Hamblett-Sewell denied that he ordered the shooting. Last November, the Court of Appeal overturned Michael Hamblett-Sewell's conviction after hearing that some of the evidence against him wasn't reliable. And today, a second retrial finally cleared his name.
I'm just glad my nephew's home now. My sister can get her life back on track. I can't put my anger into words about the injustice that has happened to Michael Paul. You know, he's practically grown up in prison. He was 19 when it happened. He'll be 25, 26 on Christmas Eve. So we've got a lot of years to catch up on, and hopefully nothing like this ever happens again.
Tonight, there'll be celebrations for Michael Hamblett-Sewell's freedom, but he's lost 6 years of liberty, and Kadeem Blackwood's murder will affect the rest of his life.
Jeremy, why has it taken so long for Michael Hamblett-Sewell to clear his name?
Well, because, Dominic, this was a really difficult case to prove either way. The prosecution used a controversial law known as joint enterprise, which meant they simply had to prove that he was involved in Kadeem Blackwood's murder. But some of that evidence used at the original trial later proved to be unreliable. Well, for more on this, let's talk to Paul Bacon, a local lawyer who's defended more than 60 murder suspects. Paul, why is this joint enterprise law used so often?
It's almost an easy way for the prosecution to succeed in crimes, mainly homicide these days, involving groups of young men. It's an awkward principle because it means that you can charge somebody with the same offence even though they've played different roles in the crime.
And you're concerned, aren't you, that it's putting innocent people in prison?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you look at the reaction there's been to these charges and these prosecutions. There have been so many appeals, and that's an indication that this is a very unsatisfactory area of the law, which actually needs to be amended.
I suppose so. In a lot of these gang murder cases, the person who's doing the killing is simply following orders. Doesn't this help convict those who are most responsible?
What it's actually done is actually muddled up where things are. In the old days, before this became fashionable to prosecute this way, you charged people with different offences, aiding and abetting, or maybe riotous behaviour, or a fray. You gave them a specific part in the case. If you were not the principal offender, if you hadn't pulled the trigger or stabbed someone, now they've just bunched it all together and leave it to the jury to try and tease out who's responsible. And if that person, the secondary defendant, if you like, could have foreseen what was going to happen. It's very difficult for the jury.
OK, Paul Bacon, many thanks for joining us today. And Michael Hamblett-Sewell's family say they're really concerned about the joint enterprise law too. Today, his father told me that law now needs to be scrapped.
OK, Jeremy Ball, thank you.